Sir, you don't know this. No one knows this, because I've never told anyone. All of the things that I've worked for, school, my science projects, getting into the academy, I've done it all because I want you to be proud of me.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Fully Functional, a TNG podcast. I'm Maggie, joined by Jeff and Dory.
Yo.
Jeff and I are huge Star Trek nerds, and Dory is a Star Trek novice, and we are taking her on our first journey through Star Trek The Next Generation. Today we will be discussing the Season 4 episode Final Mission. Original air date is November 17th, 1990. I was almost going to say 2000, but that's wrong.
November 17th, 2090.
Yeah, I was going to say the year 2000, which is not even the current year, so I don't know why that number was there. But yeah, November 17th, 1990, and as always, we'll take it to Dory for the recap.
Okay, so Picard is preparing to go to Pentaurus 5 to be asked. He was asked to mediate a dispute amongst these miners who are prone to violence. Mm-hmm. Okay,
just what Picard hates: miners.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. Definitely credit for that one.
Thank you.
That was great. So then, Wes shows up out of breath on the bridge, and Picard's like, Wesley, I summoned you 10 minutes ago. But Wes is like, I was in the middle of an important experiment. And then Picard's like, excuses will not stand at the Academy. And Wes is like, what?
The Academy? Dun 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 dun.
Picard received a message from Admiral Nusameka?
I don't know, Admiral some shit.
I think I said it right.
It's like a
Nusameka,
I think, or something like that. It's more of a swallowed N. Doesn't matter.
Oh. She expects him to report to the Academy in 2 weeks. And then Picard's like, you're gonna come with me on my mediation thing. And because he's like, Riker says that you have been studying the effects of outpost judiciary decisions on Federation law. Okay. And then they're picking up a distress signal from Gamelin 5. And we meet Chairman Songai? I don't remember.
Yeah.
And they say that, they've got red hair and a melting face.
Yeah.
Also, something that makes absolutely no sense between their lips on their mouths. Like, how do you put a thing in your mouth?
It does look like a candle has melted at the bottom of their face. And
they have these 3 strings of flesh blocking their mouth. And it's like, how does that make sense?
Candidate for dumbest alien design, yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wild choice. So they called to let them know that there's an unidentified spacecraft entering their orbit above the planet, and the radiation levels, the atmosphere increased by, I almost said 9,000. Nope, 1,000. 3,000%. So Riker's like, I'll take the Enterprise to go deal with them, and then Captain Durgo of the shuttlecraft, Nenebek, will take Picard and Wes to the miners. Oh, Wes makes a joke to Geordi. He's like, who's the captain of a mining shuttlecraft? And he's like, yeah, he's still he has a ship, I guess. Does that makes him a captain?
Technically.
He's done a lot with it.
Mm-hmm.
So calm down, Wes. So Durgo offers Picard the ops position, but Picard's like, no, Wes can do it. I need to read up some law shit. So then they lose power and systems are all crashing and they're basically like Tokyo drifting into space. And they're like, oh gosh, we have to figure out where to, like, if we can land somewhere. And Wes looks for a Class M planet and they find one. It's like a moon and it's 55 degrees Celsius, but they have no other options. Like, that's gonna be the goal. So, okay, 55 degrees Celsius. I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
It gets near 30 and I'm like, cool, just let me die.
Yeah.
I hate the heat. So this is truly a nightmare for me.
But it's a dry heat.
I suppose that is better because humidity is truly the fucking worst.
Yeah.
Dry heat, I guess, is better, but
Toronto's basically a fucking swamp. Like,
yep. Fuck Toronto.
yeah. It's so humid.
So then Picard has to take, like, he's gonna drive the ship. But when he switches seats, he pulls a thing from the ceiling and it breaks.
I couldn't tell if that was on purpose or not.
Yeah, I don't think it was on purpose. So yeah, they're like, okay, guess we got to brace for impact. And then they hit they land on a desert planet. And they get out of the ship because Picard's like, yeah, it'll become like an oven if we stay inside. And we need to find like shelter from the sun. And he just keeps walking around the ship. And they are able to like put together medical supplies, but the replicator is broken. So no water or food. Ugh. Meanwhile, back on the Enterprise, the radiation leak turns out it's a garbage ship. Mm-hmm. And it's just been floating through space, and the gravitational pull from the planet is like what pulled it in. So Riker's like, okay, we should push the garbage into the sun. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
that sounds about right. But there's an asteroid belt between them and the sun. Oh no. But Geordi's concerned about like them towing the shuttle because the garbage ship because it risks contaminating like the Enterprise with a fuck ton of radiation. So like, what if they send like these thrusters to like just put like we control? It's basically like a video game, honestly, or like remote control car. Like we just like put the thrusters on the thing and just beam it right over to the sun. So then they get a call basically from the miners being like, hey, Picard hasn't shown up. And Riker's just with too many emergencies at this moment. He looks like overwhelmed, but Riker just like keeps going. Oh yeah, so okay, back on the planet. They're like packing to go like to the mountains. And Picard makes an arrow that points to the mountains. Mm-hmm. When they do the wide shot of it, I started laughing so hard. It's like a tiny little arrow. It's not a bad idea. I don't disagree with it. I think just seeing it like that he's like, yep, they'll know exactly what it means by putting this arrow on the ground here. I mean, they do. Yeah. Later, but like it just was kind of funny. And yeah, so they think they'll be safer in the mountains for like shelter. Durgo is like, why are you making the decisions? But Wes will have none of that Picard bashing, and he's like, Picard is keeping us alive. So they decide to walk at a steady pace, not briskly, and breathe through their noses. And so then like Durgo falls, Wes helps him up, but like then in addition to the 55 degrees Celsius weather, Wesley decides to burn him more. Yeah. By saying like, oh yeah, you were worried about Picard's capability in this heat.
Wes is a brat in this episode, and I don't know why.
He's trying to impress his dad.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, then we learn Durgo turns around and he pulls like a big jar of, I wrote, is this water? Is this alcohol? And then it's alcohol.
Yeah, we're meant to think it's water, but it's booze. It's like his planet's vodka or something.
Yeah. So there's like energy readings. They get closer to the mountains. They find a cavern with stairs.
Yeah.
As one does. Just like really like preserved stairs.
Yeah. They don't mention it at all.
Yeah. It's also funny because at one point Durgo like jumps down from different like levels of the cavern beside the stairs. And I'm like, why didn't you just use the stairs, guy? Like it's literally right there, like a foot away from you. oh yeah, so then they find, like, Picard and Wes find out, oh, you have that alcohol, and we're gonna add it to the medical supplies. So then back on the ship, Dr. C is like kind of like, Dr. C is probably the calmest person I've ever seen in a like disaster, because she is unfazed and she's giving instructions for her team for like radiation sickness for the crew. And oh no, I think it's for the people on the planet, because there's like a few groups that were like already being affected or something. But then Troy comes in and is like, hey, just so you know, the closest search vessel is almost a week away. But also the people on the miners on the planet are like gonna like help us. And then when we find out like a few scenes later that like, lol, the miners have like no extra vessels to help. So good luck. I wrote my notes. Are the miners bonding over the fact that they have to help search for Picard and Wes? It's unintentionally a like way to bring them together.
I mean, yeah. It would be nice if that went anywhere.
Yeah. And then so they set up the garbage ship, and the module malfunction and like it goes flying off. So like the only other option is for the Enterprise to like tractor beam the garbage ship through the asteroid belt to like the sun. So that's a bummer, and they won't be able to join the search for Picard and Wesley for a while.
Oh no.
I know. Who would have thought? So then they go so Wes, Durgo, and Picard go farther into the cave, and they find a sketchy fountain. Just like real why is it there? What is this even? But
Sci-fi.
then there's like a force, yeah, there's a force field, and of course Durgo like shoots a force field, and then like energy levels rising, and then the fucking souls from the Ark of the Covenant like appear to like fly around the room.
Not gonna lie, that
knocking...
shit is like, I think it's really cool looking. It's too bad that it's like kind of worthless.
Yeah, and during that time, like, so then they're knocking over a bunch of boulders and shit, and then Picard pushes Wes out of the way from like having rocks fall on him, so he can stand there for like a good few seconds while watching more rocks fall on him. I was like, Picard, you very much had time to like move, but you stood there staring up at like Picard.
Yeah.
Anyways. So good thing they have all that medical stuff.
Yeah.
So Picard has like a head wound, his right leg is broken, a fracture in his left arm, and also possible internal bleeding. I was like, oh my god, Picard.
Yeah.
And Durgo's like, yeah, Picard's dead. Like, let's just like drink out the alcohol and move on. Picard goes, Mr. Durgo, I would appreciate it if you didn't bury me before I'm gone. Like, fair.
The thing that's like bugs me is that the internal bleeding is like, they don't know for sure, and it's like, wouldn't that have been something that came up on the scans that Wes did?
Nope,
like how is that not part of it?
Well, it's really quite simple. You see, in this episode, the scanner can't read that.
Yeah.
Only this episode.
But the thing is like, it wouldn't have made a difference. Like, if Wes just said, like, oh, you have internal bleeding, like, that wouldn't have made a difference. So they could have totally just done that.
And yet they didn't.
It's better to leave it a mystery.
Yeah.
Does he have internal bleeding? Guess we'll never know.
Yeah.
So Picard is also at this point sort of like, well, he's got no feeling in his right leg. His vision is blurred. And he's like, Wes, you're going to have to fucking handle Durgo because he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And he's going to like get you guys into some shit if you don't like take control. Which is like, yeah, super chill thing to say to anybody. So back on the Enterprise, radiation levels are rising. And they're pumping this medication through the vents. But it's only going to be effective for 38 more minutes. And Dr. C initiates the radiation exposure protocol. And then it'll take 51 minutes and 14 seconds until the other side of the asteroid belt. So yeah, as usual on TNG, these times don't match up. What are we to do? So they're like, we have to push the limits of towing capability and shields and shit. So then back in the cave, they find that Durgo's phaser is basically like covered by Spider-Man webs. And they like deduce that maybe like the souls from the Ark are protecting the water. And like the phaser energy levels could help figure out like how to control it.
Just finally caught up with the joke you made. It took me like, I don't know why. It took me a good few seconds to just my brain catch up with the Ark of the Lost Covenant.
Oh, the Covenant, yeah. It's wild how much like stuff in this show reminds me of Raiders of the Lost Ark. So yeah, like there's some measurement shit that like, so Durgo like wants to just like shoot more because that worked great last time. And he's like, well, it would save Picard. But at this point, if he's got all this shit, would like water really save Picard?
No.
So like that logic is not there. So Durgo's like, listen, I'm going to shoot on low setting. And Wes, you're going to shoot on like the maximum setting. But you're going to put your phaser on the wall for reasons.
Look, Durgo's drunk, okay?
Yeah, so then like the souls of the Ark come out, and then like I wrote Soul Spider-Man's the phaser and Durgo.
Yes.
So then Durgo is now covered. It's funny though, because when they did a close-up on him, it looks like he's just covered in ice with like silly string on top of him. So like farther away the effect looks more impressive. Up close, not so much. So Durgo's effectively dead. So like rip to him, I guess. So then back on the ship, they're like, there's 1 minute until radiation poisoning. So here's what I did. I set up my own timer to see if we're actually going to do a minute. You guys, this show does not know what a minute is. They're like 10 seconds. And I only had like 30 seconds. It was like a 35 seconds. And they're like 10 seconds left. I'm like, you guys, you can't count. So yeah, they're like counting was completely fucking off. And then back in the cave, Wes is like, hey, Picard, remember when we had that shuttle? We went on the shuttlecraft trip to Starbase 515. That's when Picard went to get his surgery, right?
Yes.
And Wes
that's
went
the
with
one.
him? Yeah. That's where they shared the sandwich.
Yeah. The episode was Samaritan Snare.
Oh, right. And Wes is like, 6 hours alone together? That seemed scary. But the way that they're like talking truly like sounded... The way this whole thing reminded me of like a romantic subplot, just of the like it almost like it's not obviously between Wes and Picard, but like this would very much fit into like a romance novel, perfectly. And then like the like secrets and like revealing like heart to hearts. Yeah, this is like perfect for like a romantic novel.
Oh yeah, well it is a scene of love, just like not romantic love.
Yeah. So then Wes is like getting introspective and shit. And he's like, I've lived more in 3 years than most people do in a lifetime. And I'm like, wow, thanks, Wes.
Yeah.
And then he gives his speech, which like incredible. Wes goes, sir, you don't know this. No one knows this. Because I've never told anyone. Wes? I was like, you're going to be for a rude awakening. Everybody knows this. We know this. This is not a secret. And then Wes goes, all of the things I've worked for, school, my science projects, getting into the academy, I've done it all because I want you to be proud of me.
Basically confirming that he is Wesley's dad.
Yeah.
If there's one thing that I've learned from you is that you don't quit, and I'm not going to quit now. I've seen you think yourself out of worse situations than this, and I'm going to think us out of this. He says a few other lines, but I just was like, Wes, this is not accurate for like multiple, like, because he was already doing like, okay, and he was doing a bunch of shit before he came on the ship. We already knew he was a good student before he got on the ship. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think like if he was, I think people knew he was trying to impress Picard. Like it's been blatantly obvious that he admires Picard. So Wes, I think we knew. But I guess go off, though. Have your moment. So then the Enterprise goes back to where the shuttlecraft was last seen.
The shuttlecraft.
They find the shuttlecraft, yeah. They find debris, but it's like not enough to be like it exploded. Then back on the planet, Picard is singing in French, as one does, just in case we forget that he's actually French and not English. And he, like, asks for water, and Wes is like, duh, Picard, don't you remember all that shit I told you while you were in and out of consciousness? Like, we can't get water right now, but if I do all this, like, science shit and tech shit, I might be able to get access to that fountain. And then Picard's like, Wes, when you go to the academy, you have to find, like, a good friend of mine who's been there forever. His name is Boothby, and he is the groundskeeper, and he's awesome. And then he's like, Wesley, I'm jealous of you because your adventures are, like, just beginning. I was like, oh my god, this is such a bummer.
Yeah.
It's
like
sad.
I think it's really funny that Star Trek eventually doubles down on this little piece of lore, because clearly Picard is delirious. Mm-hmm. And it's really funny because Boothby is brought back multiple times. He's a real person. He's real seriously done. Like, they do a very good job with him, but it's just real interesting the things that Star Trek decides to, like, to double down on over its history.
Yeah.
Wild.
But just because he's delirious doesn't mean he made up a guy.
Oh, no, I know that. I'm just saying that the fact that he's delirious kind of adds a little bit of, like, I don't know, to this whole conversation. And it's supposed to, I think.
Oh, yeah. Especially with a name like Boothby.
Right.
Yeah.
It sounds like a character from, like, 100 Acre Woods or whatever.
I literally was picturing a sad basset hound.
Yeah.
Boothby. Okay, this is like a very side note, but during this scene, there was like a wider shot, and Picard's lying down and Wes is sitting behind him. The exact placement of Picard's arm over his chest looks like it's actually Wes's arm.
Oh.
Just the angle, the way that like Wes has his arm down matches perfectly with the arm on Picard's chest. It's obviously Picard's, but like when they
it kind of lines
angle,
up.
I was like, yeah, I was like, oh wow, that fully looks like Picard, like a Wes's arm. So I will send it in the group chat. Hold on, I can see what I mean.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
So then Picard was like, Wesley, you remember I was always proud of you. Bullshit. That's like I don't believe that for 1 second.
Shut up, Wesley.
I mean, it's nice to Picard like say that, I guess, but he's full of shit. So then like Wes goes back to the fountain and like battles the souls of the Covenant, I guess, or the Ark, and he was able to reach the water. And then it looked like he had a cardboard box that he like put the forward into the fountain to collect the water.
I think it was the case for the medical supplies.
Okay, because fully from what I was looking at, it looked like a cardboard box, and I was like, "Why would you?" Okay, I mean, if that's all you got,
it might be in real life, but I think in the context of the show, it was the box for the medical supplies, because he didn't have any other containers.
Yeah, and then we cut over to Picard, and Wes is like dropping water into Picard's mouth from his dirty hands, just like a few drops at a time. I'm like, oh, I feel like this might make things worse because you're like dirty hands, the dirt going into Picard's system when he's like not doing great. But then like I guess Wes like passes out, and then he's woken up to Dr. C just calling his name 50 times, and then he takes forever and he goes, Mom, and then she takes 65 years to then go, yes. I don't know why there was so much pausing in between these lines.
Yeah, she does take a long time
Dr. C. Yeah, like she was not sure. Like, yes, I am your mother, Wesley. That's true. And then they found them because of the arrow. It's amazing and hilarious. And of course they did. And then they're like bringing Picard out, who's like fucking dying. I know they said that they stabilized his vital signs. I don't care. He's fucking dying. He's in such bad shape. And he's just like, wait, Mr. Crusher, what are you doing in such a filthy uniform? And then Wes goes, you don't look so ship-shape yourself, sir. I'm just like, take Picard to the fucking ship already, you guys. Stop, like, having a moment. And then it ends. Like, they start doing the credits while they're taking Picard out on the stretcher. So I guess this is not Wesley's last episode. But I guess they're just preparing us for that Wesley will be having a last episode.
Okay.
Unless he just disappears within the 2 weeks.
Okay, yes, this is Wesley's goodbye episode. However, it's open for him returning. So here's the background behind this, okay? The episode was made as a way to give Will Wheaton an exit, so he no longer had to be a regular on the show because he was getting lots of offers to do feature films and whatnot, and he wanted to go and take those on. But he also wanted to be able to come back to the show if he could. So the thing is that they were feeling real bad about the way that they let Tasha go the first time, and they were like, okay, we have let 2 main cast members, technically 3 main cast members go without any goodbye, basically, because they had Tasha, and that goodbye was weak, the first one anyway.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, they had Dr. Crusher just not there the next season, and then they had Dr. Pulaski just not there, and nobody even acknowledged it next season.
You guys, I fully fucking forgot about Dr. P.
Good, as well you should.
I was like, 3? Who the fuck left?
But the point is, they have let 3 main cast members go with barely any fanfare from them as writers, and they were like, we can't do that again. If Wesley's going to go, we have to give him an episode for it. We have to make it the focus. And they did. And in giving Wesley a, like, growing up, coming of age moment, it does kind of complete his story on the show.
Yeah.
But leaves it open to bring him back for other reasons. And boy, do they ever.
They bring him back? Wes comes back?
They bring him back several times, and one of them is a fantastic standout of the series.
Oh, awesome. Okay, well, I'm glad to hear that, Wes, this isn't
we get to see him, but he's no longer a regular.
That's right.
Okay, that's good to know, because, like, it's like, if this is, like, the last we ever see of Wes, that's gonna actually be really sad.
So I'd like to point out that this is the second episode written by series regular Jerry Taylor. Jerry Taylor goes on to write some of the best episodes of the series that we will get to within TNG, including one of the worst episodes of TNG, but we'll get to that too.
Oh my god, one of the worst episodes is coming? We haven't seen it yet?
Yes.
Oh my god.
I mean, like, top 5 worst, definitely towards the end of the series, but I won't talk about that. But, she then went on to co-create Star Trek Voyager alongside Rick Berman and Michael Piller. And it was a show.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was gone by, well, not completely gone, but she was mostly gone by the end of the second season, I think, after she spent a lot of time deciding, you know what I really like? I really like Victorian drama. So let's write a Victorian love drama into a holodeck story, and let's bring it up multiple times throughout the series.
Where's the problem with that?
Yeah.
I'm 100% for that.
Well, here's the problem with it. The concept of the show is, we are lost in the Delta Quadrant. We're so far away from home. Let's get back to home by reliving Victorian drama in our pew-pew space show. It was not a good idea because the show already did a bad job of only being episodic to a fault, to the point where they weren't referencing their own mistakes half the fucking time, which obviously was a problem.
Here's the real question. Were they wearing Victorian outfits?
Oh, only one character does it. It's the captain. And she keeps doing it.
Only one person wears the Victorian outfits?
Only one person is playing the fucking program. That's
Oh.
why it's
Oh, cool.
boring, because you're witnessing her interacting with hologram characters, and you're supposed to give a shit, but you don't.
It distracts from the show. It's like okay, this isn't the show that we signed up to watch. You know, this is fun, an episode here or there, but this isn't like we didn't sign up to watch a 1800s drama in a small town in Ireland or whatever the fuck it is.
Ooh, I'd watch that.
I would too, but not when I'm watching Star Trek.
Yeah, that's fair.
This episode it's a decent goodbye to Wesley, but I feel like for a lot of it's kind of a step back for his character, at least in the beginning, because I feel like he's so bratty, and it's like they haven't done that with Wes, like,
In a while
and at all. Like, there's no... I don't see any motivation behind it, especially since, like, Wes has been demonstrated to be, like, not elitist. Like, he always seemed, like, really curious and, like, respectful of, learning about other people and other things and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I can definitely see now that he's older, like, getting brattier and getting more elitist and stuff and, like, thinking that, but there was no build-up to it. So, I mean, that's not this episode's individual fault. That's kind of the fault.
Yeah.
They didn't really do anything with his character to get there. But it seems so jarring, like, that Wes is all of a sudden being, like looking down his nose at this guy, you know?
Yeah.
And then also, like, in the episode, they don't do really anything to prove Wesley wrong. Like, it's not like the guy has some knowledge that Wesley doesn't have because he's more experienced with certain things, and Wes learns a lesson from that. Which kind of seemed like the direction they were going, but it doesn't pan out that way at all. Like, they show Picard showing much more respect to this guy, but then he just gets himself killed because he's being dumb.
Yes.
Yeah, it really would have been nice to have Wesley, like, learn one more thing from Picard versus, like, well, Picard's incapacitated, so, Wes, you gotta, like, figure shit out, and that's it.
They could have at least made it, because Picard's like, you're gonna have to, like, stand up to him and handle him on your own, where it seemed like the episode was gonna go like, hey, you have to show this guy respect just because he doesn't, like, he doesn't have Starfleet's
together
resources and stuff like that.
Yeah, because like going to the academy, I guess you need, like, leadership skills or something. But yeah, I thought, like, they'd end up working, like, they would try Durgo's way, and then it doesn't work, and then he's like, fine, he's like, I promise, just like, so then it would have been nice if Wes having some moments with this guy where he was trying to explain to him, like, this is what I'm doing, and this is this, and the guy, like, listened, versus just like antagonizing Wes over and over again.
Yeah. Thinking about it now, I feel like, are we supposed
but, like,
to...
Wes is also being a dick also.
Yeah, are we supposed to agree with Wesley? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, I don't know. Everybody kind of,
it doesn't seem like it.
Like, I don't particularly like this episode, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that Wes got, like, his moment with Picard, I guess, but it also felt so hollow because, like, we know that Wes was, like, always, like, a big fan of Picard, so this is not new.
Yeah.
And Picard has told Wesley he's proud of him already in a previous episode. So Picard opening up to Wesley like this, like, I feel, honestly, they have no chemistry. In my opinion,
yeah,
I think they have no chemistry, and there always feels awkward.
Yeah, it does. Like, I think,
I'm sure, like, and maybe in real life they're, like, friends or anything, but I think
Yeah.
the characters do not,
No.
like, mesh together well.
I think each individual actor did a good job. Like, I think Patrick Stewart did a good job, and I really do think
yeah.
Will Wheaton did a good job, but...
Oh, yeah, the acting, I think, was fine.
Yeah, you're right that, like, together, it just doesn't mesh.
it feels like they just keep trying to push like that Picard and Wesley have like a low-key bond, and like this now has like established them for the future, when it's like,
but they've done everything
Picard,
to show that Picard does not like being around Wesley.
Yeah, like we've also had Picard tell Wesley he's proud of him. Like they've had these moments before, and like I also like find it weird that, I don't know, like no, never mind. It just like, this just felt like we know all, like none of this stuff is like new. It would have been nice if it, like, Wesley's weird confession like doesn't make any sense, because like we know this is like kind of not true, like because he's done shit before meeting Picard. So like
yeah, no,
I call bullshit.
Yeah, I agree.
Like he was a good student before arriving on the ship. He was into science, like nothing personality wise. I don't think Picard has changed Wesley, except for maybe, no, I was gonna say except maybe for like some being braver, but like, I don't know, maybe he motivates him in some way, but
I could see it being a recent thing. Like I could see it like he was a good student and like liked to do well and stuff like that, and then as he was on the ship, he like, his motivations changed and he was like really trying to gun for Picard's approval.
But we know that he wanted Picard's approval, but like he already got it a while ago.
Yeah.
And then, but we also haven't seen him change anything. Like nothing has changed with Wesley. Of like his, like he wanted to go to the academy. He's smart, does school shit. And then like this, I don't know, this, I get what they were going for. It just like doesn't make sense to me, because a lot of this shit happened already, and none of it's secret, and it's just being brought up because like they don't have anything else. I don't know why they keep, like, they thought that the best way to close Wesley's story was to put him with Picard again, because like they don't,
it should have been
Picard doesn't
with
want
his mom.
Yeah, they all Wesley stuff is like never with Dr. C, which is wild, because
I think like, they have chemistry, like whenever they have scenes together.
Yeah, like that, this really should have been Wes and Dr. C. Because like he's like yeah.
It could have been a really cool story if like him and his mom got stuck somewhere and she had to rely on him, and it was all about like, you know, letting him be a man and, you know, knowing that he can fend for himself and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know what I mean? Like if him and his mom got stuck in a situation and she was incapacitated in some way, or like still conscious and whatever, they could talk, but like she couldn't do it, or, you know, she kept trying to protect him like when it wasn't necessary, or some stuff like that. I think that would have been really cool.
Like him showing his independence, because he was on the ship by like without her for season 2, but he was also like strict, like so much supervision, versus the academy. He's like an adult now. He's on his own, but like it's different circumstances. So her being like not overprotective, but just like concerned that he won't, I mean, I don't know what the academy's like.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly like how it sort of runs there, but him showing her that he can be independent and like stand up for himself, and you know that he's ready to like leave the Enterprise, that would have been more effective, versus like, I need Picard's approval again.
Yeah. Because I'm just thinking back to the first episode of season 3, and the whole storyline with Beverly readjusting to the Enterprise and adjusting to like where her son is in his life, and that conversation they have where, you know, he's like, you know, they kind of have a fight, and he's like, oh, how would you know, you haven't even been here, and that kind of stuff. And I just like how well that was done and how much I enjoyed that. And yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like it's a missed opportunity that they they really should have made this story centering around him and her, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I can agree with that.
And then also they give Durgo, what the fuck, this Durgo guy, they give him so much, like, time when...
There's literally no point. Like, they could have... Him and Picard could have crashed with no one else there, and I think it would have been almost the same story.
Yeah.
Like, that guy
Pretty
didn't
much.
need to be there. But yeah, it's not the worst send-off, but it could have been a lot better. And I don't remember who said it, if it was Dory or Jeff, but I agree that it's weird that they keep trying to put Wes and Picard together.
Dory said that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, stop making... Fetch is not going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Just... Because at this point, it's truly, like, it's a one-sided relationship, in all honesty.
Mm-hmm.
Wes admires Picard. Picard's like, Wesley, go away.
Yeah. I mean, they could have leaned into that aspect of it, that it is a one-sided relationship.
But
You know?
instead, we still had to have Picard be like, Wesley, you've got so much to do, and I've got so much to teach you. And it's
Yeah.
like, you taught him fucking nothing on the ship, so, like, what are you talking about?
And they have, they have a few, like, Picard fatherhood episodes, and none of them involve Wes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there wasn't a build-up to this.
I think the only reason I'm not like, this is the stupidest thing ever is because now knowing that, like, Wesley does come back, so this isn't like goodbye forever.
Yeah.
Because if this was like the end, this would be such a bummer and, like, I don't want to say a waste, but it's a waste
Yeah.
of an episode.
Yeah.
Because, like, them running around to towing the garbage ship into the sun, like,
Yeah.
why? Why?
Was that supposed to be some, like, really, really
A metaphor?
weak, metaphor about nuclear waste and whatever the fuck?
I mean, maybe, but they didn't do anything with it at all.
Yeah. That whole B plot was purely just so, like, the Enterprise
Riker
couldn't
could
help
be
him.
exhausted.
Yeah.
I was honestly bored with the B plot. Like, I didn't care about it
Yeah.
at all.
No, literally the
It
only
was-
point is to keep the Enterprise from helping them. That's
Yep.
it. I mean, you could have done the standard, like, fucking bad weather shit.
Yeah, they could have done that off screen too.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't matter. It wasn't important.
Yeah.
This just feels like
Um,
a filler episode, even though it's supposed to be a goodbye.
yeah. I think it is kind of a filler episode.
Well, to Wes, goodbye, good luck. We'll see you soon. We'll see you again. See you at a later date.
You will definitely see him more.
Yeah. They didn't even have a scene of him, like, departing the ship for the final time.
Yeah, they could
Yeah,
have.
it's
They
like-
could have done without the B plot and done that instead.
Yeah.
They're planning Wesley a goodbye party.
Yeah.
Last
or
minute
at
goodbye
least,
party.
like, you know, in the transporter room saying goodbye to his mom and, like, the other characters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, like, by the time this episode was done, I was like, oh, okay. I thought this was, like, the end, but I guess they're going to have another episode so they can say goodbye to him properly. But I guess
No.
I guess that's it.
Yeah.
I guess we're done.
Yeah.
Oh, Wesley using science to micro the final boss was definitely very funny. I'll just science faster than you can hurt me. And, like, I don't actually know what he did, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Does not
He
matter
did-
at all.
He did a science, and he won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go
But
science.
also, I feel like the people who write this show have watched Raiders of the Lost Ark like 1,000
Yeah.
billion times, because then also the soul thing goes through Wes's body
Yeah.
like it does in the movie.
Yep. Yep, could very well be.
They love Indiana Jones, I guess. Mm-hmm. The cave could be seen as, like, in the third one with the cup, the chalice.
Oh, the
What?
Holy Grail.
Holy Grail, yeah. Because in the cave, the only thing that's missing is what's his face? That king.
Oh, the Knight.
The knight. Oh
Yeah.
my god! I was like, was that King Arthur? I'm like, no, that's not real.
No, he is supposed to be one of the knights of the Round Table, I think.
Really?
Well, he's supposed to be a crusader.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, but, like, the Crusader, that's like that But that wasn't the same.
Oh, no,
time
you're
as
right. Yeah.
King Arthur, though, because the Crusades were real.
Yeah, but I think King Arthur is set. Is it set during that time period?
I think it's earlier.
Either way, yeah, he's supposed to be like a crusader, like someone who was on who's on a quest for the Holy Grail, and he found it, and now his ghost guards the Holy Grail. You have chosen
Honestly,
poorly.
all I remember about that movie is that Sean Connery is Harrison Ford's dad, and they both fucked the same Nazi.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Decisions were made.
Yeah. She talks in her sleep. I love The Last Crusade. It's a great movie.
Well, listen, anything's better than the fucking shitty Temple of Doom. I hate Temple of Doom. I've gotten into fights with people. I don't know why people like Temple of Doom, but I know people like it. I hate it. I hate that movie.
I kind of like it.
Yeah.
I
have
know
strong
it's
feelings about
bad.
Temple of Doom.
I know it's bad.
that
I know
movie.
it's super fucking racist.
I watched it once, and I was forced to watch it, and I hated it.
Yeah, it's not.
Indy. Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
just so much screaming, and I hate people screaming for no reason.
yeah. It's not a good movie. It's definitely not. I can't justify anything that happens in that movie. But I enjoyed it as a kid, and I still have fond memories of it. But yeah, I can't justify that movie in any shape or form.
Good.
I still enjoy it.
I think back to Riker in the last episode. No, you can't. Don't even try.
Oh yeah, I did like the way he said that.
Yeah, me too.
All right, so with that, we should move on to favorite moments and lines and things of that nature.
Deal.
Slim pickings for this episode.
Yeah, I guess I like when Picard was like, Mr. Durgo, I would appreciate if you didn't bury me before I'm gone. that was a good
That
line.
was a pretty good line, yeah.
Yeah.
I liked the last couple lines between Picard and Wesley. I thought that was very cute.
Oh yeah, with the dirty uniform stuff.
Yeah. You don't look
Yeah.
so ship-shape yourself, sir.
I totally thought he was gonna say you look like shit. Like it really.
Yeah, well, Captain, you look like shit.
Yeah, it
Fair play.
totally felt like he was gonna say that.
Fair play, Wesley.
Oh
Fair play.
I like the vibe of the fountain room. Like the glow is pretty. I would like hang out there with like drinks or something. So-
Yeah.
Listen, I'm really like picking at nothing.
Yeah.
At this
Grasping
point,
at
I don't really-
straws.
Yes, that's what I was like. Picking at weeds. That's
Yeah.
not the term.
I really enjoyed Will Wheaton's acting in this episode. I thought he did a good job. I thought he did a really good job. Even though, like, the brattiness, I don't think was, like, I don't really think that was in character, but he did a good job at portraying it, because that's obviously what they were going for. But yeah, that's kind of there's no, like, moment or anything that really stands out that either of you haven't brought up already.
Right.
But yeah, I just wanted to mention that I thought Will Wheaton did a really good job. Especially, like, I really liked at the beginning of the episode when he's all out of breath and he's like, I know, sir, I know. I was dealing with volatile compounds and I couldn't, like, you know, I thought that, like, flusteredness was really cute. And I thought he did a good job with, like, where his expression changes, where, like, Picard says, like, oh, that won't you know, fly at the Academy, and you can see in his expression that he clues into, like, what that means, like, what the implications of that are.
It also seemed like Wes was excited for the fact that he's going to have a fuck ton of work to do to catch up. What
Yeah.
a nerd.
Yeah, because he's joining late.
Yeah.
All right. So, now it is time for predictions for the next episode. So, the next episode is called The Loss. And this is a Deanna Troi episode.
Oh my god.
And Deanna inexplicably loses her empathic powers.
Oh my god. I was like, if she loses another fucking loved one, I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm gonna have a loss. Oh my god. How does that even work? How do you, like, lose your ability? I mean, I'm gonna assume it's temporary. Maybe, oh god, it's something...
Nothing fucked up happens to her.
Okay, good. Because I was like, if some kind of traumatic event happens that then causes her to, like, not be able to use her powers, I'm gonna call up somebody.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if any of the writers have Twitter. Send them a DM saying, how could you do this? No, I'm kidding. I would never. Okay, so she's lost her power. I assume it's just for this episode or something.
Yeah. I mean, that's not a spoiler. It's like, duh. It's unexplained. It's not like a traumatic thing that happens to her that makes her lose her powers. It's like unexplained. But then at the end of the episode, we figure out why.
Oh.
It's basically her dealing with the fact that she can't read people.
Okay. So my prediction is that it's Deanna just having to deal with the fact that she can't read people.
Fair.
What does that entail?
Yeah.
What does that entail?
No, I'm kidding. Maybe it's like kind of it's like it's sort of a day in the life in a way, where she like gets up and does her routine, doesn't realize anything's wrong, and then maybe like when she starts encountering people that day, then she's like, wait, what the fuck? And then maybe something happens that Picard really needs her to like vibe a person, and she can't get it, and she's like, do I make it up? What do I do? And I honestly, I feel like Troy would maybe tell Picard in private if she was like not getting her like, I say this, but I could be totally fucking wrong. Maybe it was she's like blocked because of a food she ate. She's like allergic reaction or something.
Yeah.
Listen,
she has like Tyrolean chocolate pudding, and it's like, oh, you're allergic to that or some shit.
And yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm going with. Allergic reaction and a day in the life, and she can't help in a situation that desperately needs, or maybe somebody goes to her personally for like one-on-one like therapy, and she has to purely just like figure out how to help people by just like psychology and not being like, well, what are people vibing at the moment? So yeah, that's what I'm going with.
All right, cool. Well, if you'd like to see if Dory's correct, watch along with us and join us for the next episode of Fully Functional, a TNG podcast.
Goodbye.